In the world of firefighting and public safety, reliability is key. That's why for over 2 decades, first responders nationwide have trusted the Fire Store as their go-to source for essential equipment, apparel, and accessories. Visit thefirestore.com online or in-store today. The Fire Store. Hi, Chris McClune here with Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment. Welcome to this episode of our podcast. It is Thanksgiving week, and I'll get into some things about Thanksgiving in a little bit. But I just wanted to kind of take you through some things that have been on my mind lately, but really based on a conversation that I had recently with Nick Wilbur, Mike Wilbur, his dad, Mike Wilbur. Everybody knows Mike, and Win Slaw. Well, we were able to catch up. They were in the area. They were in my area doing a consulting gig for a local township up here. They were evaluating that township's fleet. Sort of not necessarily apropos of anything, but this is a department that has recently become a combination career and volunteer department with the consolidation. I wouldn't say consolidation, but with the merging of three different fire companies, three different volunteer fire companies. So this is kind of a momentous task here, coming up, evaluating the entire fleet, which made up between engines and ladders and rescues and support vehicles and chief's vehicles, made up about 16 vehicles that needed to be evaluated. So anyway, they were all up here in my area. And it was by accident that I learned of this. It's funny, I will tell people I'm from Pennsylvania and things like that, and outside Philadelphia, but they don't always realize just what that means. I was only 20 minutes away, so it was great that I was able to meet up with them for dinner. And of course, we talked about fire trucks. I mean, that's just kind of where the conversation always goes. And so we were sitting there and we were talking. And I like to listen mostly. I don't, I hate it when I feel as if I'm dominating the conversation. I really like to listen, and I'll ask some probing questions here and there, but really it's all about listening and just listening to the three of them talk about their recent experiences, recent consulting jobs, and just about how they approach some of these consulting gigs. We had a podcast a few weeks ago with Nick and Win, and they were talking about data. And that is another item that we got into. And data's a tough thing. It can you can use it for good. It can reflect the good, but also it can reflect the negative as well. When they approach these consulting things, and this is not applying to this recent job. But when they come to do one of these consulting things, they're going to be looking for data. If you tell them that you want a rig with a crew cab that has 6 seats, and they look at your data and they say, well, you never put more than 3 on, you're going to have a hard time convincing them that they should help you design a truck with a 6 person crew cab. Just one of those things that data is critically important when we are looking at our fleet, especially today. Today, data is critical. The rigs are more expensive. It's been because of inflation and things like that that have caused the prices of rigs to go up. We are waiting for them longer. So you're going to want to make sure that you get that rig spec'd right from the get-go. But think about it. Think about the money you're going to save not buying those 2 extra seats in the back. In the grand scheme of things, are 2 seats in what could be a $900,000, $1 million piece of apparatus going to break the budget? No. But when you start to think about, and this is where, so we have the data component of this, where the data is going to tell you what you should be building based on your response patterns, based on staffing, based on all that. We were talking about the example again of a ladder truck that might have 400 feet, 500 feet, of that's an exaggeration, but 500 feet of ground ladders, But if you're only staffing that truck with a driver, an officer, and two people in the back, who's going to throw those ground ladders? Who's going to throw all 400 feet of those ground ladders? So it's those kinds of things that you need to think about. But getting back to the seats, when we talk about the seats, think about the seats. Okay, so you have the one cost of the two seats. Okay, the two seats, the two SCBA that are going to go into those seats, the mounting equipment for those seats. So you have that cost. But also, if we were to take an average firefighter size, now I'm going to be very generous and say that we'll call the average 190 pounds. All right, that's 380 fewer pounds that are going to be on the truck. So that's one thing. So you're reducing the total weight that truck's going to carry by 380 pounds. Again, not a tremendous amount, but think about the size of the cab. Now, think about, and I've been in cabs like this where you've got 4 seats across the back and two rear facing seats on the front. That's tight. It is. It's tight. When you're trying to put your SCBA on, that is tight. So think about that. Think about the fact that without those 2 extra seats, not only are you going to have more room, but you might not need as wide a cab. Now we're getting into some of the costs that are going to be larger that you're going to save by building a rig that is practical for the data that you are able to provide to anybody, to the apparatus manufacturer, to a consultant in this case. But just think about that. So we have the data, but then we have the dominoes, the ripple effect from all these different decisions. When you make these, think about a water tank. Okay, think about going from a 500 to a 750. Okay, now you've added 250 gallons of water. You have to multiply that by approximately, I don't know the exact 8 point whatever it is, but just multiply it by 8. You are adding that much weight to the truck. If you do that, what are you going to need to do to the suspension for that vehicle? Think about all these things. Think that is an added cost. So while increasing the size of the tank may be X amount of dollars, you are then going to be adding X amount more dollars to support that tank on the chassis. So we're in November. We're looking into December. December has our outlook issue, so we're looking forward toward 2025. If you're in the market for a rig, first of all, read the outlook that we're providing in the December issue. It will eventually be online. Read that outlook because it's going to give you some insight into the market in general. What is influencing the market? What is influencing prices? What is influencing lead times? And it will give you an idea of those things to help you make the right purchasing decisions during 2025. But when you are making those purchasing decisions, think about the data. Think about and be honest. Sometimes it's not always easy to be honest about, we like to think that we're going to fill that truck every time when it rolls out the door with 8 people, 6 in the back, 2 in the front. But the reality of the situation in many places is that that's probably not the case. If we are to look at it realistically, we are all trying to ensure that we meet response times with the right amount of people. And if we have 2 in the front and 4 in the back, we're heading out the door, probably, especially if there's another truck that was also dispatched that people are coming to staff. So, think about that. Think about the realities of your responses when you're doing this, especially in 2025. So that's the data end of it. But then think about the ripple effects of the decisions that you're going to be making. Going from, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go for the 750 gallon tank on your truck. To me, the more water I have to work with in the beginning of an incident, as soon as we arrive on scene, the better. But also think about what that's going to do to the cost of the rig, and of course, set a budget. If set a budget and stick to the budget. Go back, do your wants and needs. Do we want this or do we need this? Think about all those things. Anyway, I'm not saying things that are outlandish and that you haven't read or heard before, but it does bear repeating at times. And it does, there's nothing wrong with a reminder from time to time about just those ripple effects. I'm not sure sometimes that everybody completely understands what it will do to the overall cost of the truck to increase the size of the tank, for example, by X amount of dollars could have ripple effects where, you're adding thousands upon thousands of dollars to the cost of the truck. I just recorded a podcast yesterday with Ricky Riley, Nick Wilbur, and another advisor of ours, Robert Tutterow. And we were talking about the blacked out apparatus and some of the costs that go along with that. So that's something to look forward to as well when we get into that. Is it worth that extra cost to powder coat, all these different accents on the truck when they're not going to increase the efficiency of the operation, when they're not going to increase the safety of the firefighters on the rig, when they're not going to, add value to the truck at the end. Just think about these things. Think about all these things. But I would tune in for the blacked out fire apparatus. Talking trucks with those guys. December 2nd. That's a week from today. That's what we're looking to launch that. So also though, and I wanted to talk a bit because we are in Thanksgiving week. First of all, from our family to yours, have a happy Thanksgiving and an overall happy holiday season. By the time I do another one of these, Christmas will have come and gone. Hanukkah will have come and gone. And we'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at New Year's Eve. So, from our family to yours, and by the family, I mean the entire Clarion Fire Rescue Group family, have a happy and healthy holiday season. And of course, Happy New Year. But right now we're up against Thanksgiving here in the States. So I was kind of thinking about, what am I thankful for? And I was thinking about the firehouse. What am I thankful for down there? I've been at this for 31 years. I'm thankful for these guys all putting up with me for 31 years. I'm in my 32nd year, actually. So, certainly I'm thankful for that. But, I was really thinking about it. And in my editorial for December, I mentioned at the end that, I hope that in 2025, I hope it brings you camaraderie, the camaraderie that I have enjoyed through the years. In my December editorial, which should be out very soon, I basically tell a story, and it's a story about another firefighter who I've known just about all 31. I'm in my 32nd, but just about all 31 years at Weldon Fire Company. He's always been in a different fire company, but we see each other on runs all the time. I just saw him yesterday. We had a working house fire. I went up to him and I said, look for the December issue. You got your wish, because he often greets me now when I see him at these calls with, when are you going to write an article about me? So my editorial in December discusses, tells some stories about me and this other firefighter. So, but it's through those stories and, just through the example of, him, still, greeting each other, kind of busting each other's stones sometimes, just that camaraderie through the years. And I hope that I'm very thankful for that at my fire company. Just yesterday, I said we were at a working job. And on the way to the call, I was riding the seat. And we had made our turn and I had given the driver an idea of how I wanted to go to the call. We were probably, maybe the third engine on the call. We were third due. But I always have it wasn't our local, so I'm always thinking, where is that hydrant? And that was my plan. Now I heard on the radio someone else was going to take that hydrant. But if they laid in, we were going to be ready to support the hydrant. So anyway, so we get there and we're going down the street, and the driver said, "Which one?" Thompson is what we were looking for. I said, "Which one is?" He said, "Which one is Thompson?" I said, "It's going to be a stop sign." But I hadn't been in the area for a while. And it was a stop sign, but just not in our direction. It's a two-way stop going the other way. So on the way home, he was busting my chops a little bit about that. Thinking he thought I was messing with him, on the way, which of course wouldn't have been the right time to be messing with the driver. But it's just that kind of stuff. This guy, he joined I joined in August of '93. I think he might have been, oh man, February or May. I think he was later in the year, but just a few months longer than me. Always, I'm always the rookie compared to him, but we both joined at the same time, and it's just that kind of thing. We're still, 31 years later, he's driving, I'm riding the seat, or I'm driving and he's riding the seat. We're training together at different times. Just a fire school that comes to mind is where we were both throwing ladders. Kind of trying to compete with the younger guys, but holding our own. But it's that camaraderie. That's what I'm really grateful for. And of course, I'm thankful for, a happy and a healthy family. So, again, this wasn't going to be too long, but if there's a couple of takeaways from this one, it's really think about the data. Don't be afraid to share the data. You want to design rigs that are built for your department, for the staffing you are realistically going to have. And you really want to keep that in mind, but also keep in mind, I've often talked about the trade-offs that we have. When you want to do one thing to a truck, you have to maybe take away from another part of the truck. You want to make it, you want to shorten it. Well, you might have to take away a compartment. You might have to make your, if you want to go to a really, really, really compact pump panel, but you want 1.5 million discharges, you're probably going to have to go to some electric valves versus the manual valves. Just there's always something that you're going to have. And that's not negative. I'm not trying to say it's a negative to go to the electric valves, but you have to keep that in mind that in order to do what you're looking to do, you might have to go outside of what has been a traditional pump panel setup for your fire department or your fire company. I often talk about the trade-offs, but I hadn't really gotten into the domino effect of how one decision really has a ripple effect down the line and can, potentially increase the cost of that truck in the thousands of dollars, not the hundreds, in the thousands of dollars, which today could be, really, really significant when you're trying to maintain a budget that probably already had to be reevaluated and raised because of the current, buying atmosphere that we're in. So again, this has been Chris McClune with Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment. Again, from our family to yours, have a wonderful holiday season in the States, starting with Thanksgiving this week. And then, of course, Hanukkah, Christmas, the new year. Have a great new year. We're looking forward to getting rolling. We're looking forward to seeing what this new year will bring. Make sure that you read the Outlook in our December issue. It should give you a pretty good idea of where we're at right now and what you can expect and some of the things that you need to consider as you make your major purchases during 2025. So again, this has been Chris McClune, Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment. Have a good one and stay safe. In the world of firefighting and public safety, reliability is key. That's why for over 2 decades, first responders nationwide have trusted the Fire Store as their go-to source for essential equipment, apparel, and accessories. Visit thefirestore.com online or in-store today. The Fire